Welcome back to our channel, where we discuss captivating stories and showcase extraordinary talent. In today's video, we have a deeply emotional topic to explore that has touched the hearts of millions around the world. Join us as we dive into the heartfelt farewell words of Rodriguez, an enigmatic singer who left an indelible mark on the music industry. Through this video, we will unravel the compelling story behind Rodriguez's goodbye, leaving no stone unturned. Before we dive into the emotional farewell words of Rodriguez, let's take a moment to appreciate the immense legacy he leaves behind. Rodriguez, a Detroit musician whose songs, full of protest and stark imagery from the urban streets, failed to find an American audience in the early 1970s, but resonated in Australia and especially South Africa, leading to a late career resurgence captured in the Oscar-winning documentary Searching for Sugar Man in 2012, died on Tuesday. He was 81. A posting on his official website announced his death but did not say where he died or provide a cause. Rodriguez, who performed under just his surname but whose full name was Sixto Diaz Rodriguez, was playing bars in Detroit in the late 1960s, his folk rock reminding those who heard it of Bob Dylan, when the producer Harry Balk signed him. In the documentary, Dennis Coffey and Mike Theodore, who would go on to produce his first album, called Fact, in 1970, told of hearing Rodriguez at a particularly smoky establishment called the Sewer of the Detroit River, where he was playing, as he often did, with his back to the audience. "Maybe it forced you to listen to the lyrics because you couldn't see the guy's face," Mr. Coffey said. A single released under the name Rodriguez went nowhere. Called Fact, released on the Sussex label, drew a smattering of favorable notice. Its first track, Sugar Man, gave the documentary its title. Rodriguez is a singing poet/journalist telling stories of today, Jim Nippenberg wrote in the Cincinnati Enquirer. He does it with a voice much like Dylan's, very Dylanesque imagery, and a musical backing dominated almost entirely by a guitar. But he's not a Dylan Carbon. Rodriguez is much more explicit. Mostly, though, the album went unnoticed in America, as did its follow-up a year later, Coming from Reality. Getting the records cut was easy, Rodriguez told the Sydney Morning Herald of Australia in 1979. Getting them played was a lot harder. He was being interviewed by an Australian newspaper that year because while he had settled into a life as a labourer and office worker in Detroit, though still playing bars and even running unsuccessfully for various political offices, he had, unknown to him, been developing fans overseas. Australia was one of the places where his music had found an audience, and in 1979 he was invited to tour there. He returned in 1981 for a few shows with the band Midnight Oil and released a live album in Australia. Rodriguez's music had found an even bigger following in South Africa, which was still under apartheid and cut off from the rest of the world in many respects. He seemed to have no idea how popular he was there, especially among white South Africans uncomfortable with apartheid and the country's rigidly conservative culture. To many of us South Africans, he was the soundtrack to our lives, Steven Segerman, owner of a Cape Town record store, said in the documentary. In the mid-1970s, if you walked into a random white liberal middle-class household that had a turntable and a pile of pop records, and if you flipped through their records, you would always see Abbey Road by the Beatles, you would always see Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel, and you would always see Called Fact by Rodriguez. To us, it was one of the most famous records of all time. The message it had was "Be anti-establishment." In the mid-1990s, Mr. Segerman began trying to find out more about the mysterious artist known as Rodriguez and how he had died. Rumors were rampant that he had killed himself on stage, died of an overdose, and so on. He joined forces with Craig Bartholomew Stridham, a journalist who was also searching for Rodriguez, and eventually they found the singer, still living in Detroit. A 1998 tour of South Africa followed, with Rodriguez playing 6 sold-out shows at 5,000-seat arena. It was strange seeing all those bright white faces all of them, knowing every word to every one of my songs, he told the Sunday Telegraph of Britain in 2009. After the South Africa tour, he played shows in England, Sweden, and other countries. In the United States, the label Light in the Attic re-released Cold Fact in 2008 and Coming From Reality in 2009, and there was another round of rediscovery ahead. In 2012, Malik Benjalul released Searching for Sugarman, his first and only documentary. He died in 2014 to rave reviews. The film, which won the Oscar for the Best Documentary Feature, concentrated on the search by Mr. Segerman and Mr. Bartholomew Stridham and included an interview with Rodriguez, who in the aftermath found himself at the Hamptons International Film Festival and embarking on a fresh round of touring. Matt Sullivan found Light in the Attic Records, which reissued Rodriguez's albums. His words and music were brutally honest and raw to the core, he said by email. It instantly struck a chord the second we heard it, and still does nearly 20 years later. Sixto Diaz Rodriguez was born on July 10, 1942, in Detroit. His mother, Maria, died when he was a boy. His father, Raymond, was a laborer who became a foreman at a steel plant. He said that he started playing the guitar at 16. Of course, I've been into Dylan forever, he told the Times in 2012, and also Barry McGuire, and a whole Eve of Destruction thing. During his period of relative anonymity, after the release of his albums, he earned a bachelor's degree in philosophy at Wayne State University in Detroit. Information about his survivors was not immediately available. The Coming From Reality album includes a song called Cause, a lament about hard times and life's disappointment. They told me everybody's got to pay their dues, Rodriguez sings, and I explained that I had overpaid them. But in the 2009 interview with the Sunday Telegraph, he was more serene about his unusual career path. My story isn't a rags to rich story, he said. It's rags to rags, and I'm glad about that. Where other people live in an artificial world, I feel I live in the real world, and nothing beats reality. Now, let's pass on to Rodriguez's last words. I'm still in the place that is known for the withering. I will be alive in living colors soon. Also, I'm endeavoring to offer back the heavenly in myself to the heavenly in the all. Last words hold a unique power to captivate our imagination about life's profound mysteries. Although there are multiple accounts of Rodriguez's final words, several quotes attributed to him stand out. In interviews, he expressed gratitude for his late discovery, saying, "I knew there was something out there for me. I just had to keep my faith and my love for music alive." These powerful and poignant words echo the resilience and determination that defined his journey. Rodriguez's legacy continues to inspire and influence generations of musicians and fans alike. His story reminds us that true artistry knows no bounds and that our most profound impact may be felt long after we are gone. The enigma surrounding his last words adds another layer of complexity to his narrative, captivating the imagination of enthusiasts and researchers who continue to explore the depth of his music. As we conclude our exploration into the life and enigmatic last words of Rodriguez, we offer a glimpse into the complex web of art, mystery, and impact that defined this legendary musician. His powerful words and enduring music serve as a reminder of the indomitable spirit of the human experience. Join us next time as we take another deep dive into the lives of influential figures. Until then, keep seeking knowledge and inspiration. Goodbye for now.